Welcome back to another episode of The Catapult Effect. I am your host, Katie Wrigley. Today, I want to take a deeper dive into energy. And where most episodes are beneficial when you listen or watch, this one I really want to encourage you to watch on YouTube because I'm going to be showing you things that are some of the best visual representations of what we're going to be talking about as far as how important energy is, understanding what vibrational level you may be at now, and things that we can do to help raise that vibrational level. So stay tuned. That is coming right up.
Welcome to The Catapult Effect, a podcast where professionals like you turn challenges into opportunities for extraordinary growth. If you're tired of struggling, feeling lost, and ready to catapult yourself into the best version of you, then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Katie Wrigley.
Thank you again so much for joining me today. I know you have your choice of a lot of different things to listen to on the internet, and I love that you are the type of person, borrowing this from Mel Robbins, that is choosing to listen to something that is going to benefit your life and the lives of those you love. So let's talk about energy. I'm going to share a chart that the Cognomovement team, Liz Larson and Bill McKenna, utilize and walk through during their flagship event, which is Cognoconscious. Cognoconscious is held every year, out usually around September timeframe in gorgeous San Diego, California. This event has nothing short of miraculous. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but having participated 3 times and having facilitated another 3 times on top of that, the amount of transformation and the amount of progress that people are able to make in this short period of time that the event happens makes it very undeniable the importance of energy in clearing out stuck energy from your body. So what they utilize is this map of consciousness that was created by David R. Hawkins, who wrote Power versus Force. And then Bill McKenna has since improved on this, or not improved, but he's expanded it, created something called the Map of Awareness. I will link to that in the show notes so that you can check that out as well. And talking about how we can be in the 3-dimensional, which is what Earth is, but energetically, spiritually, we can actually access 4th and 5th dimensions and what that looks like. For the intent of this episode, we're going to stick in the 3D, and I encourage you to just check out that map of awareness that Bill's created. And again, I will link it here in the show notes. So, hope you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening along, I am going to do my best to try to explain a little bit, but I really want to encourage you to check this out on YouTube and watch the episode and see what I'm showing. So as you can see here, I'm going to show this. You're going to be able to see my face for a minute, which is totally cool. So you see here, we've got all these levels at the bottom that are yellow and it says force by them. And then we have levels that are blue and it says power by them. Forceful energy levels are like shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride. So a forceful energy, let's first talk about that. The difference between a forceful and a powerful energy is a forceful energy is one that is going to be draining your life force. There is a negative impact to it, and it's pulling energy from your nervous system to continue to hold that energy in your body. Now, one of the things that we hear a lot is why in the world is pride a forceful energy? And this does also apply of being proud of someone else. But what we're really talking about there is if we get too prideful, we get too much in our ego. What happens with that is we start to get demanding, we start to get indignant, we start to get inflamed, and then now we're shooting back down to the anger level, which is right below pride. Now, when we talk about powerful energy, this is energy that's going to be empowering us, that is not going to be draining us. Another way that I've heard this spoken to was through the training I did at IPEC, where we talk about, oh my gosh, now I'm totally forgetting the terms, but they basically have 2 terms for positive and negative energy. And of course, I'm blanking on it right now. But if we continue to look at this chart with the powerful energies, it starts at courage and then it continues to go up. We've got neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and at the top is enlightenment. These are all energetic levels that are going to be boosting you. And now courage, I want to go back there because courage, and this is according to Liz Larson, the co-creator of Cognomovement, is courage is feeling fear and doing it anyway. And so even though it is at the bottom of the powerful energy, because when you push through, you're going to feel really good, there is still a fear thing to it. So that one is actually an energy level that could actually drain you if you're stalling out too long to take action on that thing that you want to take action on. We want to try to get into these higher energy levels because this is where all the things become possible. When we're operating at a level of love, meaning we're at a place where we can let everybody be exactly as they are. We know what's our lane. We know what's their lane. We fully embraced Mel Robbins' let them theory, letting them be themselves, allowing you to be yourself. This is where we really feel that fulfillment and that peace that is available to us as human beings. When you are running a pattern, and this is why it is so important to acknowledge your emotions, allow yourself to feel them and release them from the physical body. When you are running a shame pattern, a guilt pattern, apathy, grief is a huge one. If those are still running in your body, it is going to be very hard to be able to stay up at a level of peace, joys, love, enlightenment. All of those, they may be accessible for you to brief periods of time, but because of the weight of those negative energies, you will not be able to stay up there very long without assistance of some sort. So you're going to want to clear out those energetic levels because the assistance, I don't actually know of any healthy assistance to stay at those levels other than clearing out the stuff that is bringing you down. The other importance of this, and where people tend to not make the correlation, myself included, is when you are running these patterns, and grief is a hot, heavy hitter. It really is. I mean, shame is the heaviest, and then guilt, apathy. Grief is so complex. And most of us have not learned how to process grief in a healthy way. This is going to make a difference. When you're running these patterns, if you don't have them out of the body, it is going to take a toll on the physical body. A lot of these emotions can be the outcome of trauma, especially shame and guilt, thinking we could have done something differently. And there's grief, especially if it's a severe trauma, there's grief for the way it could have been that it doesn't get to be. So a lot of these energetic levels are coming out of trauma. And experts like Gabor Mate are starting to talk about the link between conditions like autoimmune disease and trauma. And I believe the stats say that 80% of people who acquire an autoimmune disease have experienced trauma in their life. Now, this does not mean if you've experienced trauma, you're going to have an autoimmune disease. I've had a lot of trauma in my life, and I do not have an autoimmune disease. I was probably on my way to getting one before I started changing things. But I've actually been able to reverse some of the health conditions by dealing with this energy that was stuck in my body. And the same thing is available for you. What we don't tend to link is that we can have a horrific loss. And then we've seen, and I've seen data around this, 2 years later or so, suddenly you get a cancer diagnosis. And you aren't linking those two events. They're too far apart in time. But there is a link to breast cancer in particular about a major loss and then the culmination of the disease. And to be clear, I am not saying it is your fault to get cancer. No way, shape, or form is that what I am saying. What I am saying is that by not addressing specific energy that is literally eating away at your body, you're making yourself more susceptible to diseases, and the scary ass diseases like cancer, lupus, multiple sclerosis, things that can really impact your life. Going way beyond what Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. A lot of times there is a preceding event or trauma that is linked to those diseases getting created. And part of the reason this happens is because as a human, you are so adaptable and you are so resilient. And one of the first things we do when we've experienced something, in large part because we've been taught to push it down. Pushing it down doesn't get rid of the feelings. Pushing it down holds it in the body, which is where you do not want it to go. So that leads me to the next point. How do you release this from your body? I'm going to stay focused on my favorite way to release energy because this is also the most impactful and powerful way that I have seen so far, and that is Cognomovement. Cognomovement is going to help you remove these energetic levels and neutralize them in your body. So through the eye movements and body movements, we can focus on what physical sensation correlates with that energy level and help clear it out. Now, if some of the terms I'm saying today are new, cogno-conscious, cogno-movement, you are new to the show, and I'm so happy to have you here. Cogno-conscious was the event where I permanently changed my pain. And now it did still take some time to fully unlearn those pain patterns. But the moment in time when you change your pain and you have an absence of pain, that is the thing that did it. You can go back to it over and over again and continue to teach your brain that it can let go of the pain patterns. And that moment in time came for me because of Cogno Conscious. And at that point, I was ready to give up. I was awaiting a neurosurgery consult. I got to cancel the consult, and that was in 2020. And in 2024, I did a half marathon. I broke through a 25-year pain pattern by utilizing Cognomovement. Now, Cognomovement isn't what got rid of my chronic pain. What I did is I rewired my nervous system so that the perception is different. And so this is how it works. Cognomovement rewires your nervous system and allows you to live with more peace, more ease around whatever chronic condition you may have. And now, why do I say that that's not what fixed it? It's that I rewired it. Cognomovement is not medical. So I can't honestly sit here and say that Cognomovement got rid of my chronic pain. But I can say that it helped me with the energy around it. It helped me with the emotions that I was feeling around this chronic pain. It helped with neutralizing those emotions. Cognomovement is also get into the middle of the pain loop that runs between your brain, where pain is created, and through that peripheral nerve somewhere in your body or multiple places in your body that's bringing that pain signal back. Cognomovement gets in the middle of that, allowing for different perspectives and different perception that allow you to break free from some of the things that keep you locked in pain. We have seen over and over again multiple people who have been able to permanently change their pain state. We have seen multiple cases where there has been spontaneous remission after someone has had their nervous system rewired around even cancerous tumors. Anecdotally, we've seen that. It is the rewiring of the nervous system. The nervous system is the master system in all the body. And so when you have a way to gently access it, it's a matter of time to figure out what the body needs to have more ease and more peace within the physical existence. And as a human being, you are incredibly powerful. But chances are you don't know that power. And part of what I mean by that is when you give your nervous system a chance to release this energy, it's going to take it. Your nervous system is well aware of the energy that you are spending to push down all of these emotions that can turn into disease, that can turn into other conditions. It is aware of the energy it takes to do that. It's holding them down because it doesn't feel safe to release it. When you set up the nervous system to feel safe, and have a safe space to release these emotions, that's where you can change your whole life. And we have seen it over and over and over again. I'm going to give you an example. You've already heard from one of my clients, Anita, an amazing woman out of Norway. And there's another client that I'm going to give an alias to, and her name is Becky. And Becky and I did a session about a year ago. And the report after the session was that she actually felt a lot better. There was one quadrant where her eyes didn't want to go. And we see that sometimes. A lot of the eye movements are giving us direct access into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is not going to reveal something to you that you are not ready to know. And if it's irrelevant, also not going to reveal it to you. And this means that sometimes we may have blocks that we use different techniques around in Cognomovement to help move past that and help get access to that part of the subconscious mind when the body is ready to do so. Becky decided after that first session She felt huge changes, and she also felt like she had been cracked wide open. And all of the emotions that she had been holding in, holding down, were suddenly wide open and available. Becky had also been struggling with symptoms of Lyme disease for 15 years, had a very hard time getting out of bed, had high levels of pain, low levels of energy, and was really having a hard time functioning in life. She and I committed to doing multiple sessions together, and over the course of 6 months, I got to watch Becky completely transform. Her life looks nothing like it did a year ago, and every time I see her, she is filled with gratitude over how different it is. She doesn't even look like the same person. She has a lot more energy. She has a lot less pain. She's been able to actually eliminate some of the coping tools that she was still using, healthy ones, but she was able to eliminate those and be able to just live and be herself. And it's also given her clarity on what her body needs from her in order to continue to heal and rest. But to be clear, I didn't get rid of her Lyme disease. What I did was I helped her rewire her nervous system. And now she's living with grace, ease, peace, love. She's joyful. She's reconnecting with new people in her life. She's allowing for higher vibrational people to come in, and her life looks nothing like it did a year ago. So as we wrap up, I want you to consider, what do you want to change in your life? And how cool would it be to look back a year from now and say, hey, I did it. I can't even believe how far I've come in a year. And with Cognomovement, there's a chance you may not even need a year. Becky didn't. She worked with me for 6 months, and she's continuing to do a lot of Cognomovement on her own. And she's actually been trained in Cognomovement now as well. So you never know what's possible. But allowing yourself to heal those energies, allowing yourself to neutralize them in the body and rewire your nervous system around them, that is going to give you an entirely different life. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as we wrap up, I want to share with you a special announcement. There's been a huge demand for my services as well as other Cognomovement practitioner services as of late, and the demand is increasing more and more and more. We've actually had numerous people start to join the practitioner program as well. So this is really exciting to see this momentum. And also what it means is that on March 1st, 2025, my rates are going to be going up. So here's the offer that I have for you. If you've been curious about trying Cognomovement, I want you to reach out to me now. And I want you to email me or text me at 678-314-3194. And I want you to say, I'm in. And so the way this will work is if you put down a deposit, even if you just try one session, you don't have to do a long commitment, but if you do one session, my promise to you is that if you come back to me in a year, 2 years, maybe you're not ready to engage, maybe financially you aren't ready, but if you come back to me in a year, 2, 3, 5 years, I'm going to honor the rates that I have today in February of 2025. So I encourage you to do this now. All you need to do is pay for that first session by February 28th, 2025, and you will be grandfathered into my current rates for the foreseeable future. I trust that this episode was helpful, and I really encourage you to reach out, book some time with me. Let's have a chat so I can get to know you better. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Come back again next week. We're going to be exploring more about energy and the importance of monitoring your energy and raising that vibration. And we're going to dive deeper into what it gives you when you're doing that as well. And until then, please be well.
Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend and leave a 5-star review, which helps grow the podcast and reach others just like you. While you're at it, connect with Katie on social media. You can find her on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram as @CoachKTDubs. That's CoachKTDubs. This has been the Catapult Effect with Katie Wrigley. Thanks for listening.